So you clicked on this video wondering, did I really go to military school? Let's see. What's up everybody, this is BC. Welcome back to another video. In this video, what I wanted to do is cover something very new, right? I'm attempting now to start kind of like a series on the channel. I want to start talking more about kind of what I did coming up, growing up, and give you more insight, give you more information about me, my past, and who I was growing up and all that other stuff. So as I introduce these new things into the channel, go ahead and leave a comment below and tell me if it's something you'd like to hear or if it's a bust and you have no interest in it, okay? So, military school. Yes, I went to military school for high school. It was JROTC, right? Reserve Officer Training Corps, I believe it's what it's called. Typically that's reserved for people going into college. It funds their college, just like my school had a high school and 2-year junior college, at which point then you became a second lieutenant in the Army. So the junior one for the high school kids, this was one of, I believe, a handful of schools that is in the United States. It was called New Mexico Military Institute, NMMI. I went there from 2000 to 2004, the year that I graduated high school, and it was a trip, right? It was in Roswell, New Mexico. I'm sure many of you have heard of Roswell, New Mexico. If you haven't, it's the city where supposedly a alien spaceship back in the 60s or 50s, I believe, crashed, and they have their own little museum there, which, by the way, is not very impressive at all. Looks like a bunch of little aluminum foil put together. But anyways, right? Imagine this, okay? Just so you have perspective. I'm coming from LA, and I go to Roswell, New Mexico, where there's one main street and there's like 5 or 6 stoplights. That's it. Back then, the population was like 20, 25,000. So to go from a thriving metropolis to 20, 25,000 population was a trip. Across the street from the campus in one corner, you had a Dairy Queen. I remember going there and getting a little ice cream when I was younger. The first time we got to go out, which I'm gonna explain how it is your first year. And then going and saying, you know what, I wanna get one of the new DMX CDs. So I go to a store there called Hastings, because that's all they had, right? They don't have Best Buy and all those other big stores that we're so used to. It's like the Twilight Zone. And I go, and they only have the clean version, right? They don't have the parental, the rated R version of the CD. I forget what they called it, right? And I'm like, man, you know, where's your closest Best Buy? And they're looking at me like, Best Buy, what the hell is that? I go to the McDonald's, they only have, you know, 4 or 5 things on the menu as far as the meals. Where here in LA, they have, you know, over a dozen, you know, and then the 99-cent menu, obviously there did not exist. So adjusting was a trip. So that's not even the actual school, that's just the surroundings. So I'm thinking, man, where am I? Where did my parents send me? This is crazy. You start in the school, and when you're new, whether you are a college freshman, right? Because remember, I had the junior college, or a high school freshman, you have to do, you have to show up, I believe it was a month before, 6 weeks before, I can't remember exactly, but you did like the boot camp, where just like when you join the Army or the Marines, you have the training and the hardcore stuff. So we're running in the mud, we have the big boots, we have the full camo on, we're waking up at, you know, 5:30, 6 in the morning in formation in our troops, you know, doing all this activities and basically training you. And you're called a RAT, recruit at training. So when you start there, they do the stuff from the movies. They give you the ridiculous uniforms, they shave your head, very similar to kind of what you would see or what you would think in a movie or a show. Again, when you start as a freshman in college or as a high schooler, you have no rank, right? You're not a private or anything, you're below that, you're a RAT, you're a recruit at training. When we wore the little epaulet things on our shoulders, it was just the black thing, the cloth, but without a rank. It was just like we put our little pin that you would normally put, I believe, on your collar there to signify that we were a RAT. When you would walk anywhere, this is a trip, listen to this. Anywhere you would walk, you'd have to walk on the right side. So let's say on this camera, there's a path like this, and then, you know, we had to walk from here to the other side of the building. We didn't just walk like a normal person, you know, as if you have no boundaries. You literally had to walk on the right side. So you had to hug the right side, walk, and then you would square your corner to go this way. So you would make like an L. You couldn't just walk diagonally to where you had to go. You had to walk up, stay on the right, square your corner, and go to the right. When we entered our barracks, which is where we lived, we had A through Z, Alpha through Zulu, I believe. We had two main ones. Alpha through Oscar was the main barracks area, and then there was the secondary one, which was Mike Troop all the way to Zulu, I believe, right? Again, this was a long time ago, so my memory might be a little shoddy. And whenever you entered during school hours, I believe it was 8 a.m., 8 or 8:30 a.m. until 4 or 5 p.m. in the barracks, you would run. So you had to jog. Once you enter the barracks area, again, hugging the right side, all the way to when you got to your stoop. Your stoop, right, we had 3 levels for each barracks. So you imagine you walk into this open area, right? It's almost like a stadium, right? You do your little thing, you jog, you go to your stoop where you are, whether you're Alpha, Bravo, Charlie, right? Then you have to look if there's anybody higher ranking than you, meaning maybe a sophomore, or anybody, maybe even in college, from a private all the way up to first sergeant to officer, you would have to ask them. I believe it was, you would say your name, you would say your last name, and then your initials. So Casella B, asking permission to, again, I forget all the exact things because it's been so long, but basically you had to ask permission to then go to your room. So you would hit the stoop, you would look, if there was somebody higher ranking than you would ask them permission, blah, 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 can I, go, blah, blah, blah. They say, okay, go. And then you would, again, square your corner again till when your door was here, and you would face it, and then you would go straight to your door, put in your code, and go in. Very interesting experience. When you're brand new, you have 0 privileges. The first 4 to 6 weeks when you're in the boot camp, when you go eat at the chow hall, and you sit, they would make us put a knife right on our chest. So we had to sit up close to the table and have a knife here, right? Because then if you slouched or you moved, the knife would fall, and then you would get in trouble. And every time you got in trouble, they'd make you run or do push-ups. So you go to the chow hall, and again, ask permission to get up, right? When you come and you sit back down, you have to ask permission first to sit down. Then, once you scoot in and you're ready, you have to ask permission to start eating. So imagine going from being a free citizen to having to ask permission to basically do everything except for wiping your ass. It's a trip. It's a trip. Now, luckily, once you got into the school buildings as well on campus, all that craziness kind of stopped and it was a little bit more relaxed. But as soon as you left the building and you're walking on campus, again, you're hugging the right side of everything. You're asking permission. If you're in the middle of jogging in the barracks area or wherever it is, and an officer, a second lieutenant or higher walks by, you'd have to go back to a stroll, which is a walk, and you'd have to salute them, and they would salute you, and then you would put it down, and then you'd keep going, right? So it's a very tough adjustment period. And when I first got there, again, I'm 14 years old. I really didn't want to be there. I know my parents are going to watch this. They know I didn't want to be there. I thought they were kidding when they said they were going to send me there. And I got into a lot of trouble in the beginning because a lot of it was just confusing, right? If I was talking to somebody who was a first sergeant or below, right, which I think in the regular military is you're enlisted, that's the type of rank, you're not an officer, which is second lieutenant and above. I just called everybody sir because that's kind of what I was supposed to do, but all the lower rank people would get pissed. I'm not a sir because I'm not an officer, right? Hopefully you're following. And it was just a clusterfuck, and they make you do push-ups. So by the time this whole, and I'm gonna go over it more in other videos if you want. Again, you guys comment below if you wanna hear more. I was doing so many push-ups my first year or two that, from fucking up all the time, that I could literally, we did the physical training, the PT drill, the end of the first year, and in 2 minutes I did like 108 push-ups. So I did almost a push-up a second for 2 minutes straight. That's how much I was fucking up, and that's how many times I was doing push-ups. I was a beast, dude, when it came to the push-ups. And so it's a big shocker, especially when you're 14, right? You have all your privileges taken away. Again, in your room, you have, you're not allowed to connect or set up your computer yet. You have no phone privileges the first 6 months that you're there. You have no TV, right? Because back then, I mean, I'm talking the year 2000 for all you younger cats. We didn't have the flat screens and all that shit. We still had the regular square TVs, the big ones. So I ended up buying a little TV later, but the first 6 months, no phone. Sorry, the first 6 weeks, I think it's no phone. First 6 months, no TV. And the first year, again, there's certain privileges you don't have. that you cannot have. So I remember writing letters. Again, this is only 18, 19 years ago. I remember writing letters home saying, what the fuck is this? This is bullshit. I don't want to be here. And I think my parents one time, they sent me a letter and they sent me like Skittles or something. And I was like, whoa, this is cool. Because I'm so used to eating the dog food, which is what I thought in the chow hall, that getting like candy was cool, right? It almost felt like being in prison, really. And I lost a lot of weight in the beginning because the food at the chow hall, that was a separate thing. I had to get adjusted to it, because if you eat anywhere like that where they're producing food for a lot of people, obviously the quality of the food isn't going to be the highest. Again, I'm speaking from 18, 19 years ago, okay? So again, I don't want to make this video too long. If you guys want to hear a part 2, or you would like for me to start a series like this where every week or a couple weeks, maybe once a month, I release something about my past and we dive deep into it, you're more than welcome to leave a comment below. Let me know what you think. If this is interesting to you, if you know anybody that went to military school or is in the military, it's cool to be able to compare memories and that kind of stuff, okay? So with that said, make sure you like this video, share it, as I'm sure some people would like to know what it's like. If you guys want to check out anything in the comment section, the description, Modern Success, my personal coaching program for the world, make sure you get on there. Shout out to them. We have our first members only live event February 2nd. I'm excited. Make sure you subscribe to my podcast, Supreme Being. Anything else, you can check it out on my website or in the description. Peace out. We'll see you on the next one.